So I record this, but you're able to ask any questions at any time. So what we do is we go through I'm gonna get this going and then I'll explain it so they can hear it too.
This is all my first road show for this one.
Yeah.
Then I come check it out some nights. Plus I can get to come see you. I don't see you very much anymore.
No, we haven't been dancing it. Not recently. Once I get this space sorted out, we'll have dance parties here and we can invite all our friends and stuff. Okay, there we go. Any second. Awesome. Welcome. Hello. We are doing the Course in Miracles study group and read through. So what we're going to do is we're reading through A Course in Miracles. This is the complete and annotated edition. It was published in 2021. And we read through sentence by sentence and break it down and apply it to real life. Make it something that we can actually use. And yeah, I like opening with a little prayer. This could be directed to God or any higher power that you identify with or believe in. Thank you for sharing existence with us. Thank you for coexisting with us, as we are not separate but one. Thank you for all of the gifts that you have bestowed upon us, including our own creative ability to make this the dream that we want to live. Thank you for sharing with us the guidance of how we may exit the desert, so to speak, or how we may leave the hell that we would make in our minds. How we would leave the guilty thoughts and be free, be your holy sons. Thank you for joining us today, for speaking with us and through us by providing the teaching that we follow. This is a mind training course so that we may see more clearly, so that our perception and our interpretation does not get in the way of the love that's certain to be there. All right, let's get started. We're just going to pick up where we left off, which was on Miracle Principle 28. We are on paragraph 5, sentence 1. Sex frequently involves lack of love. Very simple sentence, right? There's this the clarity in this is just understanding that love is not required to have sex, right? Anybody can have sex with anyone. It's two bodies smashing together. That's what sex is,
Basically.
Love is not required to have sex, right? Sex frequently involves lack of love, especially understanding that nobody is a body, right? And simply by looking at someone as if they are simply a body, you're looking at them in a very limited perspective, right? An unloving perspective, right? Because to see someone as a body is to see that they are separate, vulnerable, guilty, you know, limited, destined to die, sick, right? Uncreative.
Yeah, it reminds me of when you're young, sex is a great thing. That's what everybody looks for. But when you get older, you're looking for more companionship than sex.
You're looking for love.
Yeah, somebody to just spend your time with you, somebody to talk to you, ride around if you're going someplace,
Yeah,
It's a different kind of love than when you're younger. When
right.
you're younger, you're just chasing women or guys are back and forth, and they're just, they're just looking to hook up or get a life together maybe, or
Sure.
one's divorced and she ain't really sure if she wants a life, and this guy's trying to get a life, and something like that.
Yeah, totally.
When you're young, but then when you get older, you don't really give a shit. You just somebody to talk to and companion. It don't matter, like, it could be an older person to a younger person. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be two older people. It's more of a companionship. That's
Right.
all I.
Age doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just companionship more you want.
Totally. And honestly, that meeting of the minds, right? When we're kind of you're looking beyond the body, the companionship that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You're looking beyond the body and you're really seeing each other as you are. It has nothing to do with age, has nothing to do with what you've done or what you've been doing or what you want to do.
Yeah.
It really is about like, hey, we're connecting on a level beyond the body, beyond age,
Yeah.
right? Beyond any of these like stories that we might say about ourselves,
I
right?
agree 100%.
That's the most, I would say that that is true connection,
Yeah.
right? When you're looking beyond the body in that way. And you can even, I mean, you could even do that with a lover,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Totally. So we're not saying that sex always involves a lack of love,
Right.
right? But we're saying frequently involves a lack of love and recognizing it's not required. Love is not required to have sex, right?
Right. You can love somebody without having sex with them.
Right. Or have sex with someone you don't love.
And that's true. I've seen it either way.
Yeah. So it's saying sex frequently involves lack of love. So the section we were talking, or the section we read last time was talking about how people, this understanding of revelation, right? Like this experience of God, right? And a lot of people, or sometimes we mistake it, right? We deny the source of it. We say, oh, that here's this revelation, this like total connection of love with God, right? And we say, oh, the closest that we can get is an orgasm, right? So it's a mistaken identity, right? So we're seeking the experience of revelation, but limiting it to the body, if that makes sense, right? So we're denying its true source and pretending as if it comes from the body, right? Or seeking the impact of it, seeking that love from the body. So this is the result of mistaken identity. And Jesus states in here that if you look at the effects of revelation, right, or some of the, we could say symptoms of revelation, right, some of the effects of it, it could appear as if they're similar to some of the effects if you're in an orgasm, right, where like the whole world kind of goes away. You're not really focused on anything like that, right? It's just like this total experience of like expression and release of love and all of these things, right? However, coming back to paragraph 5, uh, it states, but revelation is a purely love experience, right? So Jesus is saying sex frequently involves lack of love, right? Revelation is a purely love experience. Revelation cannot exist without love, right? Whereas sex totally can, right? Sex totally can and frequently does, you know? Whereas revelation itself is a purely love experience to the extent that it is actually, as we have previously discussed, revelation occurs as a complete and total suspension of doubt and fear, right? Complete and total suspension of doubt and fear. So revelation is a purely love experience, right? So it's not a space where there is any lack of love, which you could also call fear, right? If there's a lack of love somewhere, it's going to present as fear. Revelation is a purely love experience. And we're not looking for revelation, right? We're not the purpose of this course is a course in miracles, right? So we're recognizing that the purpose of this is to do miracles, right? Miracles being seeing each other clearly, right? Seeing beyond the body, towards kind of the spirit, the true person that lies underneath, right?
Yeah.
Seeing not seeing each other as guilty, right? Or as separate from ourselves, but understanding that we are one, right? And that they are totally innocent, right?
And,
And we share that innocence between us.
and you talking to them as a person and not judging them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no judgment. There's no judgment involved. You're seeing that
Different, you know.
yeah, they are totally perfect just the way that they are.
That's the way-
Totally perfect just the way they are.
They're gonna be, accept the way they are.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Okay. The okay. Revelation is a purely love experience. I want to call back to some of our previous conversations about Revelation. Do, 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 do. Maybe that's not what's wanted. That's okay. Essentially, revelation is direct communication with God, where God reveals or allows you to see himself, and not himself in terms of like a gendered character, like a human body or anything like that. In the course, it's just used to describe, um, if you could put a description on God, it would be like a perfectly loving father, perfectly loving, right? Never judgmental, never upset with you at all. Like the story from the Bible, right? Like the um, prodigal son, right? Where one of the sons goes out, one of the sons is good and stays home and does what he's supposed to do, and the other son takes his father's money and goes out and sleeps with a bunch of hookers and steals stuff and spends all his money gambling and does all of these things and comes home dirty, broke, all of these things, right? And the father just stands at the end of the father runs to him and says, "I love you, my son. I'm so glad you're home." Right? That is how God treats us. No matter the distance that we seem to imagine that we could make between ourselves and God, right? There's nothing but love, right? And so this experience of God revealing himself to us in this way, right? This revelation that seems to occur, um, is this direct communication of that love, right? And it's explained to us that revelation without preparation, right? If someone is afraid of God and then has this overwhelming experience where the whole illusion seems to fall away completely, right? That's totally scary, right? Revelation goes from being this beautiful thing to embrace, right? To this thing where the mind, because it's unprepared, says, no, 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 that's not safe, right? The ego wants to defend itself, wants to run away from that in an effort to protect itself, right? The ego being the the imagined part of our mind that's very invested in this dream, that is very invested in being a body, right? That's very invested in being a personality, right? Um, and the only thing the ego wants to do is preserve itself, right? If the body dies, the ego dies because the ego and the body are made from the same thought, right? They're made from the same thought that we are separate from God, that we could be separate from God, right? And so, in understanding that, the ego is also going to say, well, they're separate from me. I have to defend myself against them, right? I can't trust anyone because what if they do something, right? I can't rely on anyone because what if, fill in the blank, right? The ego is always trying to defend itself against other people and to defend itself against love, ultimately, right? And the ego is always afraid, right? The ego is always afraid, right? So if you think about this in the context of, okay, if we understand that you are one with God, you are totally safe, you are totally loved, right? You are perfectly innocent, never guilty, right? And if that is the truth, right? If you imagine that you are separate from God, you're saying, "Oh, if I am separate from God, I am not safe." And so then you are going around the world, going around this dream and seeking safety, right? Seeking safety, always defending yourself, always afraid of everything because you have this idea that you're not safe, right? Or this idea that you're not loved, right? So you're going around the world seeking love as if you don't have enough, as if you are not already loved, right? So it's just we confuse the uh we confuse the source where we can actually get it from, right? Because we're confusing our true state. We think our true state is unsafe. That's what the ego would try and convince us. You're unsafe. You have to try and go do something to get safe, right? You are unsafe and you should be afraid because you are vulnerable, right? And as we talked about before, revelation is a purely love experience. Fear cannot exist at the same time as revelation. It's pure love, right? We're understanding that the opposite of fear is love, right? The opposite of fear is love. Revelation is a purely love experience. Miracles are a way of earning release from fear, right? So by sharing miracles, by choosing to see our brother clearly, right? To say, you are not a body. I do not have to defend myself against you. You are totally innocent. I am totally innocent. You are perfect just the way you are. These are ways that we release ourselves from the fear that we would create in our minds, right? Slowly and steadily, right? We're willing to see each other clearly, and this fear goes away. This fear dribbles away, dribbles away, dribbles away. And then it seems to help us become prepared for revelation, if that makes sense. And again, the purpose is not revelation. The purpose of this Course in Miracles is not revelation, right? However, the purpose being the miracles itself, right? Which release us from the fear that we made in our mind. Great. Sex frequently involves lack of love, but revelation is a purely love experience. So these two sentences are going back up to paragraph 3, what we were talking about before, understanding how we have an idea that they could be compared, right? That this experience that seems to be coming from the body, right? The orgasm, really it's coming from the mind, right? But we're limiting it to the body. And the effects of revelation, right? We're looking at these as if they're on the same plane of existence, right? And Jesus here is clarifying the difference between them, right? Sex is a physical act, frequently involves lack of love. Revelation is purely a love experience. Sentence 3 says, physical closeness cannot achieve this. No amount of physical closeness between two bodies can achieve a purely love experience, right?
If you say so.
Let me ex
It's in the sense because we are not really bodies. The body is just a vehicle. Who we really are is this soul, this energy that is everlasting. So that is our true state.
Yep.
This is just an expression, one of the many expressions we can live. But there's so many like dimensions and realities that we can experience.
Physical closeness cannot achieve this. To have a physical existence is to imagine that you are separate from God, right? To have to seemingly have a physical body proves that there is a belief of separation from God, right? And so to understand that revelation, this purely love experience, is outside of the physical realm completely. The dream of identity, the dream of the body, all of these things fall away, right? All fear falls away, right? All fear exists on the same plane of thought as the physical body, right? You could even say,
It doesn't exist.
right, you could even say to an extent, the physical body cannot exist without the existence of some belief in fear, right? And so for a purely love experience, for an experience that is nothing but love, the body cannot make this at all because the body is not made of love. It is made of fear, right?
Well, I mean, it does come from love, the existence, the design of everything does come from the motivation of love, but then fear is incorporated with this experience. Because it was God, the creator, existence, gave everything out of love.
Yeah.
So
The illusion of separation is created by us. The
Yes.
illusion of separation, the body is entirely part of the illusion of separation. The body does not exist outside of the illusion of separation.
Oh, so you're saying this is our creation, the physical realm?
Totally.
Oh, wow.
And within this creation, God built in a way out of it, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's interesting.
A way for us to see that it is heaven, a way for us to make it truly, right, as He would will it to be, right? But we would choose to be in separate bodies. We would choose vulnerability. We would choose guilt, apparently, right? These are all the choices that we have made. Does that make sense?
It's interesting.
So when we are truly seeing clearly that we are one with God and one with all, right? When we are all one, right? The bodies fall away completely,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So the bodies, again, are made out of the belief in separation, made out of fear, right? And God has given them a new purpose to share love, but they are not made of love. They do not need to exist for love to exist, right? That's what we're getting clarity here, right? The love is not necessary for bodies, and bodies are not necessary for love, right? Love is ever present, ever flowing, right? Bodies do exist without love, right? They live outside of love. Does that make sense?
So is it outside, the bodies exist with love, but not sex. You don't need sex to have love, but you can still love somebody,
Totally,
you know?
totally.
I don't know, I always went through life thinking that everything came out of love. Because God is love and God is the one who started everything.
Yeah,
Even us that created this, it's always linked to love.
of course.
That's how I see it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that is seeing it clearly. But if you're seeing it clearly, you're seeing that the bodies will fall away with the rest of the illusion.
Oh yeah. Eventually.
Nothing
Yeah.
nothing is as it seems to be in that sense, right? In the dream that we're in, right? So it's just recognizing that to say that love created this dream, when in fact this whole illusion was created by this idea that we could be separate from God, right? And this idea uh, is then what we chose to make this with, right? We chose to make a vulnerable body to prove that we're separate from God. We chose to make a fearful world to try and prove to ourselves that we're separate from God, right? And instead, you can look at the world and say, no, I'm not separate. I see a harmless, happy world, right? So it's understanding that our perception, right? Our perception and our intention changes what we make, and therefore it changes what we see, right? So you can look out here and say, love created all of this, and that can totally be true, right? But if you see any vulnerability anywhere, love did not create it. Right? If you see any hate anywhere, love did not create it.
And you can't take it with you,
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
you know?
Right. You can't take it with you.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can pass on, but you ain't taking that one with you. You better enjoy it while you're here.
So just figure out, if you're looking at anything and saying, do I see vulnerability here? And if the answer is yes, you know that love did not make that. If you see any fear, you know that love did not make it, right?
Yeah.
And when you
So,
think you're doing too good, it'll give you cancer, so then you can think about it some more.
right.
Every
Yeah.
time things is going good, something always happens.
Oh my gosh.
Gives you another challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's like a
That's
sport.
interesting. Yeah. Well, it seems to be that way. So our friend here just said anytime stuff is going well, it seems to, then you find out you have cancer, right?
Always a challenge.
There's always a challenge. There's always something. It's really just that something new is being presented so that we can love that thing too, right? And it sounds ridiculous, right? Because we are so used to being afraid all the time. We are so used to being so afraid all the time that to do anything but be afraid feels retarded, feels stupid, right? And but it's really about understanding like, oh, there's another way of seeing things. I can see this how I've always been looking at it, upside down and backwards and through a pair of drunk goggles, or I can just look at it as it is, right? And say, so there it is. And it's perfect, right? It's perfect for learning. Ultimately, learning that you're not separate from God. You can trace anything that's occurring. You can trace anything that's occurring. Oh, fear of cancer, right? Fear of vulnerability of the body, fear of death, any of these things you can trace back to, oh, there's proof that I was believing I'm separate from God, right? There's justification for my fear. In reality, there's no justification for fear because you are not vulnerable, destined to die, right? So it's just a matter of recognizing, like, yeah, it seems like challenges are always presenting. It seems like things are coming up all the time, right? This happens, that happens, right? My life now, it's like, oh, my sister's about to, she's very pregnant, about to move across the country all of a sudden, and now I'm adopting 3 cats,
Look at all the challenges she's gonna have.
right? Look at all these challenges, you know? Or even you piss someone off, and you don't know how to fix it, and you feel guilty and you feel shitty about it. It doesn't matter whether it's a small challenge or a big challenge, right? You could sit there and say, like, oh, well, you know, that's life. Just get over it, get through it. Life is shitty. It's gonna happen. Nothing can be that good for that long. That is totally only the voice of the ego. That is totally only the voice that's invested in the dream going a certain way, right? Who you really are is more like sitting on the outside watching this happen, saying, oh, that's so funny. Like, oh, that's adorable, right? We really see how cute it is, how adorable it is that we seem to get so invested in like this weird little flesh suit, you know?
And then words make people feel happy.
Words make people feel happy.
What you just said, about little things, it picks up their spirit and they like to hear good things. People don't want to hear bad things. And then it sticks with them. And then every time they see it, all they can think of is that bad thing you might have said to them. So it's better to say nothing at all than say something bad to somebody. I think.
Sure, they pick up you were saying they pick up the good things, the words make them happy.
Right, the good words do,
Yeah.
and compliments and stuff. But when you run somebody down, I guess the word would be, they never forget that, and it always hurts them whenever they see you.
Yeah, if they want to hold on to that.
Yeah, and they do, most people.
Yeah, sure. It seems that way. But again, it's important to recognize we have a choice all the time. There is always a choice between love and fear. In every single moment, you can listen to the thoughts of fear, right? You can listen to the thoughts that say that person hates you, that person will never forgive you, you're totally rotten, this person, well, you can't trust that person, right? And I hear this shit all day long. The thoughts come up. It's just a matter recognizing you have the choice to listen to them. They never have power over you unless you give it to them.
Exactly.
Right? So what you were saying is like, oh, it seems like people Listen to those thoughts of fear. It seems like if you say something bad to someone, they're going to remember that, right? They're going to remember that. They're going to worry about it all the time. You're going to be worried about it all the time, whatever. That's a choice. That's a choice. I'm trying to make this choice right now, to not hold these things against myself, right? But it's so interesting. And then also, it's the same choice to hold on to those words of love, right? You could choose to listen to those. You could choose to not believe them. How many times have you given someone a compliment? You say, "Oh, you look great today." And they're like, "Oh, I don't know about that." You know? "Oh, you smell great." "No, I don't." You know? Whatever, right? So you have a choice to hold on, but ultimately words don't mean anything. Words don't do anything, right? Like words can't make someone happy. It's someone's choice to be happy or not, no matter what's going on. No matter what's going on at all, Does that make sense? I think there's a point in this too where it's like yeah, words aren't going to make someone happy. Yeah, and the choice between love and fear, but also the choice in what you see, right? If you're choosing to see that that person is, consistently upset or consistently unhappy or any of these things, as opposed to being like, oh, maybe they're just confused. That's my favorite thing, right? If someone seems to be upset a lot of times, I'm like, they're obviously confused about something, right? They have drunk goggles on and they're looking at the world like everybody hates them and they're running into shit all the time. Their head probably hurts because they're dizzy.
And you can find them, the old people sitting at the bar talking to the glass of beer.
It's okay, Bara. It's okay. Yeah, right, your drunk goggles.
Yeah, your young goggles.
Yeah.
Sit there,
Or
don't
they,
talk to nobody.
yeah, feeling like a victim all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I people talk to me all the time and they're like, "Oh, I this problem, that problem, this problem." Even my own life, I notice this voice in my head too. What about this and what about that problem and this and that and all of these things? It's like, "Oh man, I'm not a victim. I must be confused about something." Right? I must not be seeing this clearly because if I'm looking at this, if you put on a pair of glasses and those glasses make you look at everything around you as if you're a victim, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see that everything around you is totally against you, right?
You kind of get that feeling like you got a ticket on a round trip ticket for a train going nowhere.
For a train going nowhere. A round trip ticket for a train going nowhere. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're on a ride and you can't get off.
Yeah.
Feels like you're on a ride and you can't get off. You just feel crazy all the time, right? And then someone looks at you and says, "Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You're not a victim." And you're like, "Yes, I am. I am a
There
victim."
you go.
Right? And you have to decide. Each person has to decide to take those glasses off. Right? Each person has to decide, and you can choose at any moment, you can choose differently to take those glasses off. If you're tired of being a victim of everything, you don't have to be. You can take those glasses off, see things differently, right? But it's tough. It's hard. It feels like at first it feels like it takes a lot of effort, right? Because you learned this um way of doing things, or you learned this way of seeing, right? You adapted to having glasses on all the time. And if you just stop wearing your glasses, you're gonna be like, "I can't see, I can't see." Someone's gonna be like, "Open your eyes." Oh, okay.
Most times you're stuck in a pattern.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're stuck in a pattern.
Until you can break out of that pattern.
Or
live again.
Totally. Or sometimes you break out of that pattern and then go back into it,
Yeah, I've seen that in people.
right? Go back into it. And then you're like, "Oh, I was doing so good. What happened?"
One of them challenges came up.
One of those challenges came up and I went back to all my old behaviors and, all my old patterns, all my old ways of seeing things,
Yep.
right? Seeing how I'm guilty, I'm a victim, right? Or seeing how everyone else is bad, right? The ego always tries to put us higher than other people, say, "Well, we're better than them because blah, 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 blah," right? Or, and this is how my ego works most of the time, is like, we are absolute trash. Like we are way worse than them.
Went the other-
Tries to put me down, right? So the voice in my head is either trying to put other people down or trying to put me down,
Yeah.
right? And these are the ways that we can notice which voice is talking, right? So if that voice talking in your head is trying to put anybody else down or trying to put yourself down, chances are probably not the voice you want to listen to. Chances are that's the voice of the goggles that you're wearing right now, right?
I agree.
That's not who you actually are, right? So what I'm saying is like, okay, so if we're seeing someone wearing goggles and it's affecting kind of what they're doing, how they're behaving and stuff, right? We just have to imagine, not really imagine, but we have to look beyond the goggles that they're wearing, right? So this is like an opportunity for a miracle, right? So let's say you're wearing goggles and you're all grumpy and stuff, you know. I would look at you and I would see in my mind, oh, he's wearing goggles. He's not actually grumpy,
Right.
right?
You just need somebody to talk to, somebody.
He just thinks he is.
Yeah.
Right, you know?
They run their own person down so low that that's why they got goggles on.
Yeah.
They just think there's nothing in life anymore.
Yeah, they think that there's nothing else. But that's ultimately what this is teaching is like eventually everybody comes back to it because eventually you get tired of doing things the same way and you realize it's not working. You're like, oh, I gotta try something different. No matter how long I've done this, it doesn't fucking work. You know?
I agree.
Might as well try something different. Yeah. This is a great conversation. Yeah. But again, it's like going back to this line, physical closeness cannot achieve a purely love experience, right? So we're getting back to this and we're saying, okay, if someone is imagining that they're totally vulnerable, that they're a victim of the world, that the world is out to get them, right? Which is the story that the ego would make, whether you make it really small or really big, right? I'm totally a victim. I'm so vulnerable. I'm in this scary, vengeful world. Everybody's out to get me all the time,
Ooh, I just
right?
remembered a scripture.
That's the physical experience, right? Physical closeness, a physical experience cannot, that experience of I'm in a fearful world, I'm vulnerable, all of these things, right, is not something that can have a purely love experience, right?
I-
That's not something that can have a purely love experience. Do you,
Scripture.
yeah, do you want to share it?
Where it is. Says about it's Jesus saying that you are not part of this world as I am not part of this world. When you were talking about this world,
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So we're recognizing that a purely love experience is something that happens beyond the body completely.
Yeah.
Right? You can have a purely love experience connecting beyond the body, right? Like the connection we were talking about before,
Yeah.
right? It's not about the body, it's not about the personality, the story, the identity, the age, nothing like that. Right? You're looking beyond all of those things and actually just connecting on the level of truth.
John 17, 14, 16. I am not of this world. I can let's see if it shows up. John 17.
Oh yeah, you always call them the smart boxes.
Because they're smarter than we are.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh,
Mine can't do anything on its own. It's got to have my dumb thumbs to.
But then when you put it into it, it never works, and you go, "Oh, smart thing is smarter than me," like he's looking for that thing. So what do you think of everlasting life? What's your
Oh,
opinion?
great.
we all have that.
Yeah.
Well, I believe in it.
Everyone.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the body. It has nothing to do with the character that you think you're playing right now.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
it's a soul jump,
It's totally,
because you'll
it's who you truly are.
and
Yeah.
you'll come back as a rat or a squirrel or something else.
Sure.
Then they'll die, then you'll flip back.
That's so
And
fun.
that's why you can't remember
But it's not,
cats.
yeah, yeah.
You can if you ask for it.
Really?
Yeah, I started remembering. some-
This is your guy to talk to. He's good at that stuff.
So what heard you before?
Okay, so the one, no, the experience before this one, World War I soldier. Before that one, a revolutionist in England, industrial England. I believe it was, hold on. Thomas Orr was the World War I soldier. The revolutionist was, oh, I forgot his name now. But he was a Christian and a revolutionist. I forgot the name now. Then before that, I remember a Roman soldier, or hold on, Augustus Caesar. Then before that one, Roman soldier. And then other places too.
Yeah.
So you went from person to person and that person to animal to break up your memory.
No, there was some animals or other types of creatures.
I want to stay focused. I think this is key, and we can totally talk about this after our little study session. I think that the key is just recognizing that you're gonna keep dreaming that you're a body, right? Until you see that you're not.
Yeah, who you truly are.
Until you decide you want to be who you truly are, right? And understanding that you is everyone, right? So understanding that you want to be who you truly are, that you're choosing this, right? You're choosing to be a limited body and to imagine that you're separate from God, right? So there is a sense where understanding that you are everlasting life, you are everlasting life is understanding that you are not separate from God, right? You cannot be separate from God, right? You can imagine that you are, right? But if you are the eternal life force energy that is in all things, right? No matter how you seem to be expressing right now, right? You are seeing clearly that you are not separate from God. You cannot be limited by the kind of the physical, right? Or the fearful world.
Because he's gonna make the final decision. Where you go, what you are, what you're gonna do.
Sure. Well, recognizing what he made you.
Well, this is it.
He made you his perfect son, right? He made you completely perfect, right? It is God's will that you are his son, and in being his son, he has gifted you his creative power to make what you want to make.
Yeah, he gives you choice.
He gives you free will, and he does not impede on your will.
No.
Right? He allows you to do what you want to do. If it was God's will or nothing happens, right? You imagine it would look like this?
No, it would be
You imagine that this world of fear is the everlasting love of God? No. This is our own creation of fear, right?
We live in it.
So just like we were talking about before, this is something that we made. If we see any vulnerability or any fear anywhere, it's something that we made. It is not made of love, right?
I believe that.
So it's not possible for God to make this. Does that make sense? This is something entirely of our own making. And we could choose to make, here's the other thing, we can choose at any time to make how God, or to create how God creates with only love.
Yeah.
Right? We can choose to create how God creates with only love. He has given us this creative power, and we choose what to do with it. We can choose to make more fear, or we can choose to create with love.
Yeah.
I
Right?
agree with that.
So it will change.
So understanding, recognizing that if we say God made all of this and he's making the war and he's making this, we're making God into like another human character with an ego and the need to defend itself and all the belief in bodies and right? As opposed to recognizing that he is unconditionally loving. He is unconditionally loving. And he allows us to be here so that we can learn what we want. So that we learn that we don't want to imagine that we're separate from him. Right? We don't want vulnerable, limited bodies destined to die, you know? It's dramatic to imagine that we do.
I think here is we're faced with a jail sentence.
That we make on ourselves.
He puts us here, because we did something bad in the
No,
past.
there's no judgment at all.
Love can't do that.
There's no judgment at all, right? That is part of the illusion. So only we can make ourselves guilty.
Yeah.
God would not make us guilty. God sees that we are perfectly innocent, right? So the Course in Miracles recognizes that forgiveness is redefined, right? As seeing clearly that nothing needs be forgiven, right? You are totally forgiven, right?
He never judged us.
There's no judgment at all, right? So if there's no judgment at all, but we judge ourselves,
Yes, that's
right?
the judgment.
So this is where
Take parents, or why does he take this one?
sure.
When they're young, they shouldn't have died for another 30,
But-
40 years.
But nobody dies, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, but
It's everlasting life.
That's true, but then you'll find
Yeah.
out.
But the key here, right, is that we have made ourselves guilty. We have judged ourselves and punished ourselves. We have put ourselves in hell. And what this is really coming from is we had a thought that we were separate from God, right? And we had this thought that we were separate from God and we believed it, right? Even if just for a brief moment, right? But by believing that we're separate from God, it's as if we forgot how God truly is. And so we imagined that the punishment for us, or that the justice, right? Like we think of karmic justice, right? The justice for us being separate from God is that God separates himself from us. So that's what you're describing, right? Is like we imagine we're separate from God, so God says, "Great, go be separate. Here's your punishment." Right? Is that you have to go live in this beautiful, perfect creation called Earth, right? Right?
Face everyday problems.
It's hilarious when you look at it like that, you know? But that's not how God works at all. We are making up this characteristic of God. We're pretending that God is a judging, punishing character, right? We totally made that up. That's not how he works at all, right? He's nothing but unconditional love.
Like that
It seems like that because because we're making it that way.
You lose people, or parents, or
Totally.
brothers, sisters, or whatever, for no reason.
Yeah.
So earlier with the goggles, that's the ego seeing things like that. Because it wants us to believe us that we're not one with God. It wants us to believe that we're this unique little character that only lives once and never again. That's what the ego likes to think.
And that you're separate from people, that the bodies separate you and you maintain that separation, right? You're not separate from anyone, you know? And it's interesting to see, but I think this is a really important point, right? It does feel like that sometimes. It feels like we're in our own little hell, our own little jail cell, and we're stuck here in hell, right? And it's just a matter of recognizing that's what we're making. That's what we believe in, so that's what we make. And you can choose differently at any time.
Yeah.
You can choose to see that you are in a perfect paradise at any time. You know?
If you can't do it yourself, ask God, help me see the truth about me.
Because it's not that the circumstances need to change. Right? The circumstances are totally perfect.
And you know he's with you every day, because look at all the good things that happen, and you don't even, it's
Again,
not,
yeah.
there's so many good things that you get through life, your car starts, or whatever it could be.
Sure.
That you just take for granted, I guess.
Totally. When you got the goggles on, you can't even see them. You can't even see the good things when you got the goggles on, right?
That's how you go into depressions.
Totally.
Because you can't see the good
It's
things.
coming from fear.
That's what my daughter always tells me. Well, this went wrong today, but look at all the good things that went right. Look at it on that side, not on the bad side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Positive.
Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, the positive can definitely be helpful. And recognize that you're totally fine no matter what happens. Whether you got a bunch of positives or a bunch of negatives or whatever is going on, you're still the same. Whether it's positive stuff or negative stuff, it doesn't actually affect you at all, right? It only affects this limited idea of yourself, right? It doesn't actually affect you. You're like I said before, it's like you're sitting on the outside watching it going, that's so adorable. Like, look, he's going through this little maze and he came to the Minotaur in the labyrinth, right? Like a little mouse in a maze, right? And you're looking on the outside saying, hey, buddy, go this way, go that way, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. At any time, you can choose the perspective of your true self. You can choose the perspective of your true self and say, oh, this is totally perfect.
Can go either way.
Go either
It's your
way,
choice.
right?
Yes.
It's totally your choice. So, like,
Each person's choice,
Yes.
of themselves, how they want to take life.
the purpose of this is to recognize that the choice is there in any moment.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the choice you make for yourself, but it's the choice of how you see other people too.
Yeah.
Right.
And reminding them that they could make any choice that they want to and seeing them clearly, right? If you're looking at me and you're like, I'm in the maze, I'm so crazy, look at me, I'm wearing my drunk goggles, and I'm so confused about what's going on. And I look at you in the maze, right? And then I decide to be my real self. And I look at you in the maze and I have compassion.
Yeah.
And then I look at your real self, right? I don't look at the maze version of you. I look at who you really are, sitting outside of the maze, right? That's where we connect.
Yeah.
It's as if the maze disappears for that moment,
Yeah.
right?
And if you were the messed up person, that would be the one I like to, because it's gotta be interesting. The whole life and everything. If
Yeah,
you're the mixed up one with the goggles and you're walking.
totally.
Bumping into.
And then you look at who
everybody,
the, but you look at,
people.
yeah, you look at who they truly are. You look at who they truly are, and all that falls away. You just love them completely,
Yeah.
right? You love them completely. You see how perfect they are,
And when they have a bad life, it makes your life look better too.
Well, that would be the ego. Because you guys remember, you guys are one. You're totally one,
Okay,
right? That's part of the everlasting life,
okay.
right? But it's interesting. It's interesting to again like hear these voices, right? It's not about comparison. Because the ego will always try and separate you, right? The ego will always say like, "Oh, I'm in a different position than they are, or I'm better off, or I'm worse off, or we're different somehow."
That makes sense.
Right? That's the ego's trying to do
Yeah,
that,
split.
trying to separate, right? Whereas love is always trying to join.
Yeah.
Not join on the level of bodies, right? Because we
Right.
recognize it doesn't actually do anything, but join on the true level of being,
Yeah.
right?
And seeing, thinking.
And seeing and thinking clearly, right? So that's just a little, and these aren't corrections as if, anybody's saying anything wrong, but it's a correction of how we're looking at things. It's a correction of how we're thinking about things so that we can see it more clearly, so that we can catch ourselves instead of like that thought comes in of like, oh, well, at least I'm better off than so and so, right? When that thought comes in, we can say, oh, wait, I am so and so.
Yeah, and it's all
Right? We bring it back full circle. We bring it back to the truth instead of just believing, well, that person's worse off than me. Good for me for now. Because if that person's worse off than you for now, you could be worse off from someone else. It's all about comparison and separation,
It always.
right? As opposed to seeing we are all one,
Yeah.
right?
This is all temporary. The human experience, it's got a beginning, but then it's got an end too. So it's not like you're here forever, stuck here, And we have to accept that. And that's equal for every one of us. Doesn't matter how you begin and how you end, or you start and finish the dream. It's just a temporary dream for every one of us.
Did you find the passage?
Yes. So I found this one, John 17, 25 to 30, 23, is that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. Then even 22 and 23 is nice, but this is an old English. And then the other one is John 17:16. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world.
Can you read the first one again?
Yeah. Back to it.
So is that thing that you're taping, will that pick up his voice too?
Somewhat, a little bit.
Maybe.
Just yours?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm just kidding.
Usually I have a better camera and microphone, but I didn't feel like it tonight, apparently.
No, that's fine, I just was
Yeah.
curious.
The better microphone I have picks it up better, but this one might.
So
Yeah.
it knows what you're talking about, but it don't know the questions he's asking you for your answers.
sometimes, but I think they can hear him. We'll check afterwards.
No, I was.
Yeah, we'll check afterwards.
So John 17:21, and then there's also goes to 22 and 23, but I just read 21.
John 17:21.
Yeah, that they all may be one.
That they all may be one,
Yeah, as thou, Father, are in me,
as thou, Father, are in me,
and I in thee,
and I in thee,
that they also may be one in us,
that they also may be one in us,
that the world may believe that thou hast sent me.
that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. Wow.
It's a good one.
So who's thou?
The one who started everything.
Oh, okay.
And this is Jesus talking, and he's saying that one day, all of us in this dream will understand that we, the Son and the source, God, are one. Basically, this is what we're talking about.
Okay.
It's been written, but we never really understood it.
Yeah,
But
'cause I
now,
didn't understand what that word meant.
but we're
That's perfect.
understanding now.
Yeah,
This
if
is
you
the
explain
time.
it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just-
Cool. Oh yeah, I think we'll close it out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're at about an hour. All right. We will pick up where we left off next time. Thank you for joining A Course in Miracles study group at Undefined Wellness below the Main Street Museum in White River Junction, Vermont. And we're so happy you're here and we love you no matter what. Yay!
Bye.
Bye.
That was an hour already.